Toastmaster success, and he has provided feedback to countless speakers, helping them, encouraging them, and showing them how to improve. Now, Vincent knows that providing feedback to others can be very, very challenging. Can be very nerve-wracking. Boom, 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 boom. Why? Because words that you use, it can hurt the speakers. Cuts like a knife. Yeah. Right? And it can shame the speakers. It can even shake the self-confidence. And worst of all, that you end the poor soul's public speaking journey. Now, Vincent will show us how to present an impeccable speech evaluation. One that's pleasing to listen, one that encourages, and one that offers constructive ideas on how to improve. So the topic for his speech tonight is how to provide positive feedback. Now the time allowed for his speech is 12 minutes. So 10 minutes, the green card, 11 minutes, the yellow card, and 12 minutes, the red card, and which the speaker has got 30 minutes to end his speech. So ladies, 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
After 30 seconds, I'll wave the bell.
Okay.
Yes.
You wave your hand or wave the bell?
I wave my hand to signify.
You jump up and jump.
So ladies and gentlemen, can I invite you to put your hands together to welcome VincentChua.
Okay, probably before the timer starts, just a quick objective in terms of what this speech is about. Initially, I proposed this idea to Mr. Gay in terms of evaluation, because most of the members here are pretty new to evaluation. Some are probably having some experience already, some do not. So therefore, this structure was broken down into 3 mini segments. The first part, which I had already covered previously, which I see majority of you are new faces, so it's more on the opening, body and content of the first speech evaluation structure. Today will be in terms of the choice of words. And then the next part will be in terms of how this evaluation could be applicable in real life. Because like what Mr. Gay mentioned, so what if you're a very good speaker on stage but you're a lousy conversationalist? So therefore, in that sense, the third segment, which most likely either next month or the month after, depending on the schedule, it will be on the application in real life. And okay, probably the time we can start. A lovely evening, Club President, fellow Agora members, and for those of you who like to provide positive feedback. Any one of you have the experience whereby, whoa, the moment I listen to this particular comment, I feel so dejected, I feel so lost, and at the same time, I feel my energy drain out. Anyone has such an experience?
I have.
The rest?
From her.
Oh, it's like for your information, you are being recorded also. So the goal today is how do you provide positive feedback, but in the context of this Agora setting, right? So probably you can see how it could be implemented down the road. So a quick recap in terms of what I shared the last round, because I believe most of you are new. There's a particular structure in terms of providing positive feedback. The first, we need to have an opening, which is a quick recap of what that particular speaker had done. Second, the body, in terms of your key solid points that the speaker had done well, and in terms of one area that probably you can consider. And most times, people after sharing that, oh, probably in terms of your vocal variety, you should improve. But how does the speaker actually improve? So that's where you need to give a concrete example. Last but not least, in terms of closing, a summary of what you had just shared. So this was what I covered the last round. If you had missed it, probably appreciate Mr. Gay for the on-call section. Okay. A quick video in terms of why feedback is important. If you find that this is familiar, you know why.
Test.
I've never had a student like you. You break promptly. You change gears smoothly. Your skill is amazing. You would be a perfect Formula 1 driver.
So as you can see, most of the times we are only addicted to the good stuff, right? And in fact, that is why when it comes down to commenting others in terms of trying to instigate others to take on action, especially if it's for the better, is oftentimes very, very difficult. Do you agree?
Yes.
So therefore, how can you provide certain examples that you can help to motivate people? These are some of the not so positive ones. Due to time constraint, I will dive straight into the areas of improvement. In fact, this particular example is quoted from one of the members that has spoken here previously. I'm the wrong audience to value you. How would you feel if, let's say, today you're the speaker and you say this? I'm the wrong audience to value you. Okay, in fact, one of the earlier speakers in the previous meetings was talking about exercising. And the evaluator is a marathon runner. So therefore, he started off with this, I'm the wrong audience to evaluate you. Next one. This probably could be very frequent. You're monotone. And of course, a very famous one, which the master evaluator likes to use, your slide had too many words. So this could prove to be very shattering for the speaker himself or herself. Therefore, how can we better improve? These are some of the key components that I highlighted. Of course, there are more to it, but just for your knowledge, speech value. Because most oftentimes, the speech value get embedded inside the message, yet we are not able to articulate it clearly to the audience in a very concise and clear to understand manner. Vocal variety. And in fact, vocal variety, there's a certain way to evaluate as well. Eye contact, and of course, gestures. Because after all, with more body movements, with gestures, it helps to increase the memory of this particular speech. Last but not least, sometimes we may use PowerPoint slides, just like right now, and of course, audience engagement. Because of time constraint, you notice that I've highlighted in different color coding. The rate, the speech value, the vocal variety, as well as the gestures. So how do you remember all this is, just like today when you are preparing your speech, you most probably would have received a form from Mr. Hay saying what is your speech message that you want. In fact, I love that particular format because that helps the speaker to encapsulate and think about what is the speech message about. Because oftentimes when we are presenting, or probably in terms of preparing for that particular speech, we draft out. Our minds get carried away. Wow, suddenly we talk about this and we talk about that, and then at the end of the speech you realize that we are speaking on so many points and the audience after a while will get lost. So therefore, the speech value becomes very, very important. Vocal variety, when you come out to talk, how do you engage the audience? How do you share a secret in such a way that everyone suddenly will just go quiet? And then you'll suddenly listen to you. That itself is vocal variety. Last but not least, gestures. Suddenly everyone wake up, right? So I have you set the stage, madam. Last but not least, gestures as well. So in terms of speech value, how do you evaluate? So again, this is some of the standard message, or should I say evaluation, that you usually hear. Your message wasn't clear or wasn't clear enough. What are some of the better phrasing that probably you can rephrase this? Anyone? Anyone would like to give it a shot? I have 10 to 12 minutes, so it's kind of short. Anyone would like to give, how can you rephrase this in a more positive manner? No right or wrong, we are here for the learning session. Once, yes, okay?
Your message could be better.
Yes, very good. Or you did a good job giving us as much value as you possibly can in the speech. And in my opinion, if you notice, it's always about a personal opinion. You can focus on just one point, and your message is more likely to stick with the audience for a much longer time, long after the day. So therefore, in this way, you notice that you have already shared indirectly to the speaker that you have too many points. And you even sound like this is a praise, right? Yeah. So you notice how I actually praised that nothing, your message wasn't clear because you had too many points. That's a very negative connotation. But this particular phrasing, because you are saying that, hey, you know, you have done a very good job, that was very good effort because you attempted to do as much as you possibly can. But maybe in terms of sticking with the audience-wise, it may not be as good as it is. So therefore, in my opinion, it's a very strong phrasing that you may want to consider. And depending on what is the focus and the areas of improvement, you can twist it around in such a way. Second, vocal variety. You were monotone. This is very standard. Okay, anyone would like to give it a shot? Dr. Q, or how can you rephrase this in such a way?
You could have more vocal variety.
Yes. And if you had more vocal variety, that's good. Any others? Once.
You were boring.
Yeah, then later you'll notice that I'll go into the Go90 FM mode. Or just not. Okay. This is something that I chance upon. This is what we have this thing, what we call a default tonality. Because most of the time, we have a certain way of speaking. So therefore, in this case, we have this default tonality. So even someone who is speaking very fast, very energetic, if it keeps going at this pace, you notice that it's very difficult to catch the person. Just like what I'm doing right now. Yes. So therefore, in terms of the default tonality, may not always be boring, may not always be flat tone, but rather at that particular pace that the person is going all the time. So therefore, even if the person is speaking very fast and it keeps going very, very fast, and therefore at the end of the day, you can't catch what the person is speaking. Very energetic, you can feel the energy, but you can't catch one as well. So therefore, in this case, is what we call the default tonality. Now, this is something that I just want. Therefore, if you want to engage the audience better, you may want to break this default tonality. And how can you do that? Again, you show by example. So the easiest way to improve on tonality is A, in terms of the volume. Is it loud or soft? Or it could be in terms of pace, faster or slower. Last but not least, pauses. Mr. Gay likes to say pregnant pauses. So therefore, in this case, tonality could be broken up into these few segments. Because, to be honest, for guys, our vocal range are very, very limited. Unlike the females, whereby they can go in terms of the higher pitch and lower pitch. Therefore, in terms of doing that for a normal male speaker, it could be very, very challenging. Therefore, in terms of the pace, in terms of the volume, in terms of the pauses, that itself would have added vocal variety, and it would be much easier for the person to absorb and digest it, especially for male speakers. Any questions so far? And you can do so by stating the examples that I mentioned so far. Last but not least, gestures. You're moving around too much, or you stood there without much movement. We have a tendency, this is a PowerPoint slide, so therefore I just stand here. Rooted, grounded. It is okay. It will be better if you come to the front, you engage the audience, take a look at the pretty ladies here, and then after that, you take a look at the pretty lady here, and then you ignore the rest of the guys. Probably that's what Fernando will do.
Who's Fernando?
So therefore, in terms of improvement-wise, you can consider your story could have added more impact if you had done certain things. So like what Wicked mentioned earlier, or Sean mentioned earlier, you could have improved on a certain manner if you had done something. So the word if here is the turning point in that sense. So in case you missed it, in my opinion, that's why I learn and apply. In my opinion, these three words are very, very powerful because it doesn't state whether you are right or wrong, it's just talking about your personal opinion. And everyone, I would say everyone, is entitled to your personal opinion. So it doesn't make it right or wrong. And of course, in terms of tonality, you can talk about your default tonality is so and so. So therefore, in order to break out of this tonality, you may want to consider other things. Last but not least, to engage the audience better, you can do certain things. And you could have added more impact if you have done something else. And this is a famous quote from Albert Einstein. Try not to become a man of success, but rather to become a man of value. Do not become obsessed with words. Instead, strive to be a giver of hope. Because at the end of the day, when you are an evaluator, you are a giver of hope. And you know who came up with this quote?
VincentChua.
How do you know that? So far, an additional minute. Anyone has any questions? Going once? Yes.
Are you considering giving us these notes?
You can get from Mr. A because it's already on this desktop. Or you can
Is it a copyright?
Copyright charge royalty.
Oh yes, I can. For him, it's okay because he's such a loyal supporter.
Very good.
And anything else? If not, then I'll hand the time back over to our MC of the day.
For now, it's time to learn to apply. So if I can invite the evaluator to give Vincent feedback. So first and foremost, we can invite Richard. Thank you.
Vincent, I'd like to evaluate you under the oil, the power of oil. Well, first, oil is observation, and what I think of your way of your presentation, and the I is your power of imagination, and lastly, the power of your logic. To grease your speech, you have done well, because you know your stuff, and because you are guided by power. If we come to a stage of your training, it'd be good you can summarize it and compress it to a few words. And you tell the audience, before you leave this room, I want you to have a power imagination in any conversations that you observe. Reason number one, if I were to communicate with Dr. Curry, I make sure that he or she or a person that I'm going to talk to is listening to me. Because that is body language. And the vocal variety is dependent on the distance. Because basically we're all Asian people, we are shy to use our voice. Because our mother say don't talk too much. We're trained shut up. We're trained so many things that we can't do anything, a lot of things. Am I right? We've been frightened because of our dominant thoughts. Number two, what I observe for you is your confidence level is you're able to deliver speech very well. You're able to capitalize the audience. The power of imagination, you know what to do. Now you should give a little bit more of what gesture is all about. Gesture is like a body language. If I talk to you, I open my arm. I mean I'm sincere. But if I put my arm here and say about you, mean that I apologize and I say thank you very much. You know, like Japanese, arigatou gozaimasu. You know. So these are all the culture that we all got to learn on all the communication. Because basically the world now is going so advanced. And you find the leaders are talking to each other. You can see the body language, you can see the eye contact. It's basically personality. So if we were to just want to tell the audience at the end of the day, the value of our speech must leave the audience impressed. And you've done all this.
Wow.
That was excellent feedback. And just my apologies, I forgot to invite the time the timer to just inform us how long did Vincent take for his speech.
11:51.
Wow.
And may I invite the second evaluator, Thomas? Thank you.
Well, I was actually very impressed with Vincent. Okay, I was thinking as I sat down here, I said, hey, I'd like to be able to speak like him. Tonal variety and everything feedback. I thought it was all very well done. And I think you do this for a living, don't you? I suspect that you do this, you stand in front of people, either you're a trainer or you're a presenter. Because the way you do it, you have substance and you really do know how to do it. Okay? Thank you.
Right.